Let me tell you a story about King David. This is in the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 10, from chapter 10. So David was in his palace while his army was going to fight somewhere. He decided to stay behind. As he was walking on the roof of his palace, he saw a woman bathing. That woman's name was Bathsheba. So he decided to go get her cold, and then she was brought to him, and then he slept with her, and then she left. And she first inquired, first asked, "Who is that woman?" And then they told her, "No, her name is Bathsheba. She is married. Her husband is Uriah. In fact, her husband has went out to go and fight with your army. He's part of your army." Then David slept with her, and then David was told that Bathsheba is pregnant, and then David is absolutely petrified because Bathsheba is not his wife. Not only is she not his wife, she is a married woman, and David had a lot of wives, but decided to take someone's wife. So this was going to be a very bad thing. It could ruin David's reputation. So he calls for Uriah to come back, and when he comes back, he tells Uriah, "You know what, my guy, you've been working very hard. I think you should go home and chill with your wife." And we can see that he was trying to make it seem like Uriah got Bathsheba pregnant. Uriah was like, "I am not going home. There's no I'm going home while we're fighting. I should be there fighting with other men." They were like, "Come on, chill. I'm giving you a free vacation and whatnot." But Uriah didn't want to go home. He absolutely refused. So he decided to get him drunk, and thinking that he'll go back home. If he's drunk, he'll go to his wife. He got drunk, went and slept at the gate. Then one of David's guards told him, King David, Uriah is at the gate, sleeping at the gate." Then David saw that this man is never gonna go home. So he gave Uriah a letter to give Joab. Joab was in charge of the whole army. And then in that letter, he wrote that he must put Uriah where the battle is the fiercest. And then that's what Uriah did. That's what Joab did. And of course, David knew that Uriah would not be able to handle a battle very fierce. That's very fierce, I guess. And he died. And then he decided to marry Uriah. And then you think that life continued, but not quite. There was a prophet called Nathan. He went to King David, and then he told King David a story. He said, King David, there was a rich man and a poor man. The rich man had many sheep, a lot of sheep, and then the poor man only had one sheep, and he would sleep with that sheep in his bed. He would do everything with it. It was the only sheep he had. And then the rich man had a visitor from far, from very far, that came to visit. Instead of taking from his many sheep, he took that one sheep from that poor man and cooked a meal for the rich man. And then Nathan said, what do you think should happen? David was very angry. He was like, what? How can he do something like that? He deserves to die. He should pay 4 times more than what he took from him. And then Nathan said, well, you are that man. And then David realized that, oh my gosh, I hid this from people, but I couldn't hide it from God. It was very sad. He prayed and said, God, please forgive me, whatnot. And and Nathan said curses. He said three things that would happen to him. It was three horrible things. I think I remember one that said that it basically says that his kids would basically abuse each other and kill each other. And yeah, later his kids did horrible things to each other, and then one of his kids tried to kill David. So God forgave David, but he still faced the consequences. And then, yeah, Nathan said that the child would die, and then David started fasting. He didn't want to talk to anyone. He didn't want to do anything with anyone. But the child eventually died anyway, because God said the child would die because of your actions. And then, yes, so I'll say, I'll start from the beginning again, just talk about everything that happened and how it relates to our Christian lives. The first part, when David slept with Bathsheba, at that point he was committing adultery. He wasn't supposed to sleep. You're not supposed to sleep with anyone other than your partner. And David basically disregarded that and decided to sleep with someone's wife. And then when he faced the consequences and tried to thinking that maybe if I do this, God will listen. But God cares more about obedience than sacrifices. Obedience is more important. And then after committing the first sin of adultery, he went to the second sin, which was lying. Basically being a liar, because he tried to make it seem like it was Uriah who got Bathsheba pregnant when actually it was him. And you know how sin is. Once you start with one thing, and it gets worse, it gets worse, it gets worse. Because now he's not just an adulterer. Now he's becoming a liar. And then when his lies didn't work, he became a murderer. He became a murderer, not directly, but he did basically kill Uriah by telling Joab that to place Uriah at a place where the battle is the fiercest, knowing very well that he would not be able to handle it. Knowing very well that he would not be able to handle it, and 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 then at this point, David thought that, wow, I covered my sin. No one will know what I did. But God knew what he did. And God made sure that he faced the consequences even after he asked for forgiveness. Yes, God did forgive him, but he still had to face the consequences of his action. The child Bathsheba was carrying died, and his kids fought amongst each other. They abused each other, and one child tried to kill him, which were basically the consequences that happened later on, even after he had repented. This shows that when you do something you're not supposed to, you'll face the consequences even after God has forgiven you. So this is what we learn from this story. Thank you for watching.